It is Tuesday the 18th of December 2018. Just arrived at the Civic Centre for meeting of Cabinet, and I've got Contracts Committee afterwards. Not a great deal on the Cabinet agenda, but one thing that did jump out at me was the once every 3 year review of rents of council allotments. Obviously I don't rent from the council, so I have no personal interest in this, but it's often something that people raise with me. But this year they're just going for an inflation rise, not inflation busting, but just a rise equivalent to inflation. So I'm off into the Civic Centre now. Cabinet now over, and I had a Contracts Committee afterwards as well, but that's all confidential material, so I'll not be talking about that. But at the Cabinet meeting I did raise the issue, which was something I was fighting on a few years ago, about the allotments being put on a community transfer, asset transfer. And the reason why I support that, or I've been pressing it, is because it'll cut the subsidy that the council currently pays, which is not a great deal. It's a few £1,000s a year across the whole council budget. Not a great deal in terms of the £200 million budget they've got, but we're still being cut by central government, so we need to find ways of saving money. But also, the community asset transfer puts the allotment holders in control of the allotments, and that means that they can also apply for funding from external organisations which they currently cannot get because they are part of the council. And there's lots of funds that are around which do not apply to local authorities, so the local authority doesn't have the money to invest in the allotments, so if the community asset transfers go ahead, then investment can go ahead in them as well. So I raised that. It was something that I discussed with the chief officer and with the leader of he was then deputy leader of the council about 4 or 5 years ago, and I did point this out at the meeting today. And Martin acknowledged that we had that meeting to discuss community asset transfer, but for him it's whether the council actually has the capacity at the minute to be able to do a review like that. But it's something I'll continue pushing for, because I think it helps both the council, but also it helps the allotment holders as well. The other thing that I mentioned on the Cabinet agenda was about the SAGE, the lease renewal, or it was the old contract for the lease has been changed to a new one, which included, rather to my surprise, for the council, some free tickets for various events, which I thought was a bit odd. Why was the council getting these free tickets? And it turns out that this is a practice that's been going on for some years, and fortunately the tickets aren't for councillors, because that was the thing. Why on earth are councillors getting free tickets for these things? It turns out that that's not the case. The tickets are used in corporate events, and also go to some of the kids in the borough as well, the looked after kids. So as long as the councillors aren't getting their hands on them, then I was happy with that.